Today we're going to be talking left foot braking. Now there's lots of tutorials on YouTube and the internet on where to left foot brake on a track. Now it's mainly used for shifting weight transfer to the front axle, and it's also used to speed up the transition between the accelerator and the brake. But the problem is that all these tutorials kind of sort of rely on you being on track and then trying out your techniques there. Now not everyone can afford to be at the track that often, and also when you finally get to go to the track, you don't want to be wasting your time mucking around trying to learn how to control the brake pedal. So what I'm going to be showing you today is some techniques on how to learn how to left foot brake in a controllable manner on road. Now this tutorial is going to be geared towards a manual driver, but of course any automatic driver can apply the same techniques. You just don't need to worry about every time I mention the clutch. Now learning left foot braking has to happen at the most basic level, when you're stationary. The first thing you have to do is kind of get your mind around the whole concept of not thinking of the pedals in terms of feet, but in terms of actions that you want to perform. So you have to get yourself in the right mindset first. The easiest way to do that is to just start by just practicing with the accelerator and the brake while you're stationary. It sounds super basic, but if you just press the brake heaps with your left foot and switch between the right and just do quick switches while you're still and just move from pedal to pedal like that, you'll start to get used to the motion. It sounds really basic and really stupid, but it will help you. So the real key when we're trying to practice left foot braking isn't just to be able to do the action, but to get it smooth. Now the first thing you've got to learn with left foot braking is getting comfortable with having your foot over the brake. So every time after you shift gear, normally say you'll hover over the clutch or put the foot to the dead pedal. But what you instead want to do is you want to get used to every time after shifting gear, hovering your foot over the brake pedal. So that way you get used to the notion of your left foot being over the brake pedal. Now it's important to start with this before you even try pressing the pedal, or otherwise you're going to get weird impulses, like every time you want to press the clutch, you'll start slamming on the brake pedal instead, things like that. So you want to get comfortable with that foot positioning before you try anything at all. By getting used to the positioning of moving off the clutch pedal onto the brake pedal, then back onto the clutch pedal when you want to shift gears again, it will stop you from stabbing the brakes every time you want to press the clutch. And that's a key thing to disassociate in your mind, because I guarantee you're going to at least once think to shift gear, and instead of press the clutch, slam on the brake pedal. Once you've mastered that, you can now begin to get a feel for how the left foot presses on the brake pedal. When you first press on the brake pedal, you're going to find that your car stops more suddenly than you're expecting. You're used to a feathered touch with your right foot because the accelerator doesn't give you much feedback. So when you use the right foot on the brake, you don't use as much pressure naturally. The clutch is typically a heavier pedal, so when you move the left foot to the brake, you're going to naturally press the brake harder. This will cause your car to dive really hard and brake really hard. So what you want to do is find a nice long downhill slope, no other cars, and then go down and just very gently put the left foot on and take up some of that dead pedal just until the pedal starts to bite and you feel the car slow down ever so slightly. Do that a few times until you get a feel for the pedal. Then you can start trying to bring it in more, where you press just that little bit harder on the pedal until you get your brake feel right. Once you've got that down, you can then use left foot braking going into corners. So if you've got a corner where you don't need to shift down, you'll accelerate coming in, you'll brake, and then you'll get off the brake onto the accelerator again. So you can make use of that fast transition. Now you can practice this on the road. You just obviously do it a bit slower than you would on the track. And that enables you to get a feel for how you can use left foot braking normally. The more you practice it, the better you're going to get. Now if you can find somewhere with lots of corners like here, where I'm not going to downshift between the corners, but I'm going to brake for them, it's good because it means you don't even have to worry about the clutch pedal. Just think about it like a go-kart. Just have accelerator and brake. When you come up to the corner here, just left foot brake, turn in, light throttle, hard throttle, left foot brake, switch, and you can see the transition is going to be much better. Now you can see here that I switched back to a right foot brake for there. Now the reason I did that is because I knew that I had to downshift twice for that corner. Now there's no point left foot braking if you have to immediately downshift afterwards. However, the ability to transition between left foot and right foot braking is what makes the left foot braking most useful. So that's a very important skill that you need to practice. The final essential left foot skill you need is the art of the transition. Now why do we need a transition? Well, if you think about it, if we are braking and we have to shift down 2 or 3 gears, so from a high-speed straight to a low-speed corner, we'll need to be on the brakes, and then we'll have to heel and toe down again. The problem is that if your left foot's on here, you can't reach the clutch. So why wouldn't you just use the right foot here? Well, you can use the left foot to transition faster. The problem is, once you transition, you then can't shift gear, because you can't heel toe clutch that way. Well, you could, but it's not going to be very easy. But what you can do is you can press the brake with your left foot, and then before you've got to shift gear, switch your right foot across onto it, then clutch and heel and toe. So that way you can get the best of both worlds. The speed of transition of the left foot braking, plus the ability to heel and toe downshift. Now I've got a long corner braking zone here, so I will start gently left foot braking, just very gently for this drill, and I transition to the right foot. Now the key to the transition is to have your left foot not fully on the brake pedal. You want to leave a little bit of the brake pedal available for your right foot to hop onto. So we can see here, I press the brake pedal with my left foot, there's a little bit left, so that when my right foot comes across, I can keep both feet on the pedal. So there's an intermediate transition period where both feet are touching the pedal, both feet are applying pressure. And the more you practice that, the more you're going to smoothen out that transition and enable you to control your pedal better. So we come up here, okay? I'll clutch down, third, left foot, right foot, heel toe, perfect and ready to go. So along here, I don't need to downshift this corner up here, I'm only in third. So I give it a gentle left foot brake. Oh, but these people are stopping. Right foot transition, bring it down, and then we can accelerate off again and shift up. And we can see here that I've just been driving around back streets doing this. So I'm not going at particularly high speed, I'm only going about 50 k's an hour. It's an easy drill to just do in a relaxed environment. And that way, at least, you don't have to worry if you make mistakes. I do advise that you don't try doing this for the first time in traffic, because if you press the brakes too hard unexpectedly, you can startle the cars behind you, you could end up not braking in time. There's a whole bunch of problems if you were to practice this in traffic. So I really recommend that you find somewhere nice and quiet to do this for your first few times. This corner, I don't need to shift this corner, so left foot brake out, go on, left foot brake coming down, transition, right, right, double clutch right first, go again. Hopefully, if you've practiced everything I've said, you should now have mastered the art of left foot braking. Now you can go out and start applying it on track.